You're welcome to the No Stand Zone podcast. It's always a pleasure to have every single one of you here. My name is TA, and the joy that fills my heart every time I turn on the mic, I don't know how much money I can put on that to actually make me stop. I was thinking about investments all throughout the week. For some reason, I saw a video on Instagram, and it's kind of put I focused my attention on like investments and all those kind of things, and it's had me thinking that I don't know how much money you're gonna have to pay me to actually turn off this mic when there are things that are out there that should be spoken about. And like I've always said on this podcast, that African stories, Nigerian stories need to be told by Africans. We need to have the full agency to be the one telling those stories. And we're going to dive into that later on in the show for sure, because it's like a mixture of emotions for me today. Excitement, and at the same time frustration and anger, and I'm just going to pour out everything. But don't run away. Don't run away. Hold on. I'm going to do it the right way. I don't know what the right way is, but if you've been listening to this podcast long enough, you know that I would try as much as possible to make myself very clear. And if this is your first time, thank you very much. Whoever introduced you to this podcast, if someone did, you should give them a hug. You should send them a gift, a voucher of a sort, and let them have a good time, because they've actually put you up to something extraordinary. We've been building this for a minute now, and it feels good that we're growing every single week. And I'm going to touch on that in just a little bit. But if you're joining us for the first time, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Is the No Stand Zone podcast with TA on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, basically. And also hit the subscribe, hit the follow button wherever you're listening to this. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe and like the video as well. Thank you very, very much for your time. And talking about big news around the podcast this week, actually, this is exciting. And I was looking at every once in a while, I'll go back and look at the numbers and see how we're doing, just so I can keep that, just have that at the back of my mind while I'm working. Not like it's sometimes, let me not even lie, sometimes it's a good motivation, and sometimes it really doesn't care. It doesn't bother me, because I know why I'm doing this. It really doesn't matter what the numbers look like today. And for me, naturally, I always want to do things better, even when there are no numbers to fall back on, right? I've worked at radio stations where there were no numbers, and you have to keep going because of what drives you, and the motivation, and what your kind of vision, mission, and all of that is. So to have numbers now is pretty good. So I like to take a look at it, look at the countries we are reaching out to, or new countries that are showing up and popping up on the back end. And big one today. Actually, this podcast, this particular episode is episode 60. Episode 60. This is absolutely fantastic. It couldn't have been possible without every one of you out there. So we should celebrate. We should give ourselves hugs and claps and all of that fun stuff. I think 60 is a big number. Right now, I think we're going to be celebrating every 10 episodes, because the more I look at what we are now and where we're coming from, is absolutely, it's just mind-blowing for me. And so 60 episodes and over 2,000 all-time downloads. So what can we do? And without any of the videos and all of that yet, but we're going to get there at some point. I can guarantee you. But what's most important right now is talking about these things that matter, these issues that are out there, whether it is from the music, the artists, the labels, the industry itself, and the things that are happening, or just trying to shed light on certain events and occurrences, or noticing certain trends that are happening in the industry. Whatever it is, basically, I think those conversations are very, very the most important. And it doesn't matter really how you start. The most important thing is we're doing it. We're starting with, and every one of you is out there supporting every week by downloading, listening, telling family and friends, because I cannot imagine how any other way than that, because we're actually expanding. We're getting to double figures downloads and listens every week now, compared to the way it was maybe a few months ago. So all of this wouldn't have been possible without a lot of hard work also on your part, you listening right now. So thank you very much for that. And what else do I need to touch before we dive into what is burning a hole in my soul today. So let's dive into it real quick. I think the biggest one, I cannot imagine not talking about this first, because it's just how I feel. I don't think I will be able to touch on any other of the stuff that I want to talk about today without getting through this first. My heart aches right now for this one, and it kept me awake several times this week just thinking about this, and it just disturbed me a lot. And the more I'm just reading this, I'm just let's dive into it. Billboard Africa is set to launch later on this year, and they announced a new editor-in-chief. He's a South African, and this move by Billboard is one of the several moves they've been making, because I think they have Billboard France now, they have Billboard Arabia, and then this is them trying to dive into it with Billboard Africa. And what this is supposed to be about, why they're coming in, or what the experts, industry people are saying is this Billboard Africa entity is supposed to feature localized music charts, artist interviews, data-driven insights, and potentially an annual awards ceremony. My goodness. The platform is likely to track music consumption across key territories as well, including Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and Ghana, using data from platforms like Boomplay, Audiomack, as well as Spotify. Now, it officially launched with the man from South Africa. His name is Yati Kumalo, and it's going to be the inaugural editor-in-chief. And basically, this is just them trying to make a move in Nigeria right now. And they say the move is supposed to happen later on this year. This podcast exists because it's always been paramount for me that we are the ones in charge of the narrative around everything that concerns us as Africans. That was the biggest criticism I had of the Grammys. If you have been listening to this podcast enough, you know that is what drives me every day. The fact that I believe in us, in Nigerians, in Africans, in Black people to be the ones fully in charge of the whole pipeline of the storytelling. Now, if you want to bring expertise in, whatever, that is fine. But I will never be comfortable with the machinery of the storytelling not being us. Not being us. I think this is too important for us to leave in the hand of Billboard to do that. Because as good as this might look on the inside, yeah, this is too much sugar. It's bad for the system. This is trying to get us really, really hyper. I think this is that's what it is. Like what sugar does to kids, where it makes them really hyper. They're just so happy, they just want to run around. That is what this is for. This is an injection of that into a young Nigerian music industry. And the focus of this is Nigeria. I want to be very clear. It has Africa in it, but it's Nigeria that is creating all the content. Like that's where the majority of the money being made is there. Like the attention, whatever, but it's around the Afrobeats, Afropop genre. In fact, the conversations around Amapiano is happening because Afrobeat artists or Nigerian artists infuse Amapiano into the sound. So that's why Amapiano is even in the conversation around this. So, I mean, let's just be clear on what it is. Nigeria makes up like a good 85% of this, why this move is happening. And I look at this, and at the same time, it brings me joy validating some of the things I've spoken about and some of the moves we've made on this podcast. I have put my money where my mouth is. When I've spoken about me believing in Nigerian entrepreneurs and innovators, I put my mouth there and I went ahead. One of the very first interviews that I did, the first interview I did, like I didn't even wait, episode 5. and 6 were my conversations with Adeayo, the co-founder of Turntable Charts. Because one, I was like head in, legs, hands, everything in. So I was sold on what they were trying to achieve and more. So I don't think there are as many people there who have had like put their money where their mouth is when they're talking about things like this. Essentially, what Billboard is trying to do here is what Turntable Charts is already doing. They're giving out certifications, like they said what they're planning to do here to music charts, which Turntable Chart is already doing. Run our artist interviews. Turntable Chart is already doing that. Data-driven insights. Turntable Chart is already doing that. And potentially an annual award ceremony. Turntable Chart is already doing that. And I criticized Turntable Charts last year. Like, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, guys. I have done that. I criticized Turntable Charts for not doing a good job at the way they rolled the whole thing out. We have to think of it in a better way. I mentioned that. As much as I commended them, and one of the early, like 3 years ago, I told the co-founder of Turntable Charts on the space, the other one, not Adeayo, I told him that you have to be thinking about that. And he said to me at the time that as long as he's part of the company, Turntable Charts would never do an award ceremony or an award show or awards of any kind. 2 years later, they were rolling it out in a very mediocre way last year. I believe in what Turntable Charts is doing, and I'm saying it again for everyone to hear. We have to support what is ours. Billboard coming in is because they see that there's a lot of money to be made. In fact, let's take a few steps back. You guys need to remember that currently, Turntable Billboard has an Afrobeats charts. Let me pull that up real quick, because I've spoken about this as well. They currently have a US Afrobeats what's it called, chart. And like I mentioned a few years ago when I saw them trying to do this, I remember saying it at the time that, one, this was going to become obsolete because it is not backed culturally. You all need to understand what makes the Billboard in the US and in other places, and the Grammys as well, what makes them in other, and just think of any of all those award shows that happen in America, Oscars, Tonys, Emmys, all of that, is the cultural relevance. That's what makes them who they are in those markets. So let's be very clear. They have seen that their first move of having an Afrobeats chart, because I'm trying to look at it here now, I can't even look at it because there was a time this thing was open to everyone. Now it's under it can only be viewed, only available to pro subscribers. That tells you already that they know that this is absolute bullshit. Their charts, their Afrobeats US chart is absolute bullshit. They put it behind a paywall. You need to be a subscriber to see that. Do you see how ridiculous this is? But let me check something else real quick here too. But guess what? If I want to look at Billboard 100, guess what? I can do that. It's free to everyone to see. But the Billboard Afrobeats chart is behind a paywall for pro subscribers only. They see that they fail there because nobody that is anybody in Nigerian music industry or around the Afrobeats, and then because it's around the Nigerian music industry, actually gives a damn about this. So this is actually their second move, bringing this Billboard back, like the Billboard Africa move is their second try. It's the second bite at the apple. And part of why I started this podcast is because I wholeheartedly believe that we have to be in charge of telling our own stories. In fact, the fact that you even have a Billboard Africa tells me that you're headed downhill. Because the continent and the sound on the continent is so big. For me, I've always said that my point has always been the same. Has always been focused on Nigeria. When it comes to the awards, it has always been Nigeria centric, and then we can kind of branch out to other, recognize other markets, like saying best East African and best international. Not best international as in foreign, but best Afro beats or best African artist outside of the continent. Like, try to do that. We might not get it completely, but try to do it. Encourage those artists to submit and to buy into it. That has always been where I stand. So them having a Billboard Africa already tells me they've not thought about this enough. This is just them looking at Africa like a country again. That is basically what this is. They're trying to take a second bite at the apple. But I'm going to stand with turntable charts every day of the week, because I believe that they are in a very unique position here to be the ones telling our story every single day of the week. And what I'm saying here is not even something new. We know it that Al Jazeera, for example, is a news organization, but if you want to get the best of the news outside of the Middle East, that's what you probably will go to Al Jazeera for that news. If you want to know what is happening in the UK or maybe Europe, it's BBC. If you want to know what's happening in the US, it's CNN. Like, we just know this organizations that exist that are specialized in telling the stories of that of certain areas or of certain people, because one, there's the cultural understanding that some of these organizations have when they're telling the story that CNN or BBC will never have. Like, it's not like, it is what it is, right? And as much as CNN will have African, journalists working with them and all of that, it is never going to be like Africans telling their own story. And I'm going to find this. Shout out to this guy. I saw a video this week, a post this week on Instagram. No, on Twitter that I saved. I think, did I save it? Is it on Instagram, or it must have been on... Let me see. I think it's on Instagram. That video that I saw was on Instagram, of a guy, of a Somalian guy, probably born in the US, who said he and his friends actually came together. Oh my goodness, I didn't save this? That is fascinating though. That would be surprising if I didn't save this. But basically, it's this guy who he and his friends going around their home countries in Africa and telling a unique story. And this guy, one of the video I saw, I think this is the one where they went to Somalia. One of the guys, I think there are three of them. One of the guy, is born in the US, and their attempt is to tell this story from, like, tell the story of Somalia. Now, when you hear of Somalia, the only thing you think about is Somalia pirates, Somali pirates and war and all of that. And from the short clip of the documentary that he put out there, it really, really hit me. That, look at that. Even me as an African that tends to be optimistic about the potential of Africa and Africans, I've also been sold on that. That when I think of Somalia, that even as I know and I've met a lot of Somali people, what comes to my mind that is the same thing as well. War, and all of that, just negative things. And it was so great to see him show a different side of people just being happy. And I have never seen a documentary or movie of anything about Somalia that just shows the people living their everyday lives. Like, there is joy in that place. There's creativity in that place. There is tenacity from the people. I have never seen that anywhere. And just that short 2 minutes about or so video that I saw of this guy's documentary, I was like, my goodness. I also have been sold on this, on the idea to barely see anything great about the continent or about Somalia itself. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. Are you telling me I didn't save that video? I was still watching it. Wow, I must have skipped it and not saved it. That's very strange. Doesn't happen often when I see something so profound like that. I probably must have been carried away in my thoughts and not remember to save it. But all of that goes to my point that as good as whatever their ideas and their goals are, it's never going to work. Because one, you didn't even, the people you're placating to, the people you're placating to already tells me where your goals and where your intentions are. Now, if you had just done a little research, what would have given them more credibility here would have been to find out if this service already exists today. If there is a service for that, especially in the biggest market on the continent, which is Nigeria, does this already exist on the biggest market in the country on the continent? And if it does, how do we collaborate with them? That's how you build friendships. That's how you build connections. That's how you, if you want to come into a market like that, that's how you do it. You build collaboration. You work together. Who says it couldn't have been a turntable Billboard thing? But they needed to come in with their big name and do that. And then they tell me their editor-in-chief has worked for GQ and all of that. I don't give a damn. Shout out to you, bro. But like, I don't care where the editor-in-chief has worked, whether he's African as well. I don't give a damn about that. Have they spoken, even before this move was announced, did they speak with the industry itself? Because if you Google that, just a little Google, you can find out that there is already an industry here, but they don't regard anybody. They don't regard anybody. And they also had an event, I think, at the launching. Where did they launch that? Where did they launch this as well? I think they did the ceremony where I can't get that information now. But I think they had the event in, I can't recall where they had the event right now, but they had the event, excuse me. And part of the ceremony, the things that they had was to recognize like what they call them, power brokers or something like that. People who whatever they recognized. Let me see, global power players list, and they recognize people like Ashake. They recognize the Thames, and all of that, and just general people like that. And that tells me who you're placating to. Thames, like all of that, let's be sure of what this thing is. You're trying to buy cultural currency on the continent, but you don't know how to do it. Giving a globals whatever to Olamide and Thames gets you nowhere. Thames has no influence on this industry. Like, what are we talking? Are we trying to be honest here? Giving Thames an award is going to do what, for example? What exactly for you, for your company? Did you speak to one of the biggest journalists with Adiayo? Did you speak with the biggest podcast of around for Afrobeats, for Nigerian music industry? Did you do that? Did you speak to us here? Did you speak to Emmanuel, Pamo and Papi, who has the biggest, at least the biggest space for Afrobeats conversations in Canada? Like, did you speak to these people? Like, we have people around, like Google, find out all these things. Did you speak to people on the ground about you coming in and collaborating? None of that happened. And that tells me you're going to fail. This is going to fail because I'm looking at it already that in fact, I'm not even saying this is going to fail because I am here to make sure they're irrelevant in the conversation of Nigerian music, especially for Nigeria. They can be influential in Ghana and Kenya and all of that, and good luck to them in those spaces. But concerning the Nigerian music industry specifically, no. Your voice will be made irrelevant here. Your voice will be irrelevant to our conversations here. It will be. I'm waiting for that. So, I mean, someone might say, oh, they're just launching now. No. You go around and find out, do your research and speak to people before you even launch. You don't come in slamming and kicking the door and be like, okay, I'm here. Okay, who do I need to speak to? No, that's not how you do it. You don't treat people like that. But that tells me your goals, and that tells me how you look at the industry and how you see us. Giving out a global players list is going to get you absolutely nothing. So I'm looking at this whole thing. Billboard Africa. They failed before. They failed before. And they still did not learn from their mistakes. I just mentioned they have the Afrobeats chart behind a paywall, but then they have the Global 100 available to everybody. Because they don't want everybody to see their failure. Is why they are protecting that. They don't want everybody to see that. I'm on the website right now. The Billboard 100 is open for anybody to look at. I mean, number 30, number 70, 80, 100. It's available to see. Top 100. But if you go to the Afrobeats chart, which is a smaller chart, just by numbers and all of that, is behind a paywall. What does that tell you? Who gives a fuck? Nobody's actually listening. Nobody's actually paying attention to them. I should log in behind a paywall to see the Afrobeat best Billboard US Afrobeat songs. What does that say? More than ever, and let me speak to the general public now. More than ever, we as a people, just outside of the music industry, we need to support what is ours. We are usually fine and okay when some of these companies do the trial and error until they get it. We support them. We're part of the process. We need to do that for what is ours as well. We need to begin to see ourselves as innovators as well. We need to see ourselves as global players and then behave that way. So when our people like us, Nigerians, create product, let's buy into it. Those who are trying to get better all the time, every day, when we see the genuine intentions that they have to get better and to create a product, let's buy into it. Let's invest in what is ours. And I can see on the side of the companies as well, let's rise above mediocrity as well. let's be more creative. Let's put our resource into being more creative in how we how we put out our products. Let's put a little more thought into some of these things. I'm the artist, and someone was saying this to me. Shout out to to everyone who listens to the podcast. I love you guys. Thank you. I get some messages on the background. I need to give a big shout out to this my brother who reached out to me this week. We're having a back and forth about just talking about some of the things on the podcast. Shout out to Jazzard on X, on Twitter, at Jazzarino. Shout out to you, brother. It's always great to have a conversation with you, to have that back and forth, to know what you think and things like that around what is happening. We had a short conversation around this, and it was really, really so good to have this conversation offline. And I was also part of a space as well where this conversation was happening, and someone was saying it that these artists are gonna buy into this. And that was like the biggest thing, that the artists are going to buy into it. Well, let them. Let them. I've always said that the way, especially for companies like Turntables, they have to be looking at the future. They have to be looking at the guys who are 10 years old now, in the sense that you want to build enough cultural relevance that when the next superstar or generational superstar we're going to have is actually 10 right now, most likely 10. The next generational superstar we have that is going to come right now is not in the industry yet. He or she is not in the industry yet. And so that is who we have to be building for. The people that existed are going to look at all that shiny stuff. But a whole generation actually growing up with Nigerians actually having some sort of cultural weight and strength in conversations. They're growing up with being actually proud, being cool, like being Nigerian, being African is cool. These guys are not apologetic about being Nigerian or being African. They're not ashamed of it. I mean, you have one of the biggest streamers in Nigeria with Shank at the streaming university happening here, happening in the US, and he's making waves. A lot of people are roping and want to be around him because a whole country is behind him, supporting him. That's what I'm talking about. Like, a whole generation of people are growing up and seeing that on a global stage, not being held by anybody. It's like building from the ground up. And we have people like Pella as well. Like, these young guys are doing great stuff. So that has to be the generation of people you're building this company for. People who are used to seeing the Black excellence and Nigerian excellence, and then they can see the consistency and the growth. And so when you invite them in, they come in. Billboard and Grammy is not necessarily what they run to. They might go for that, which is fine, but they will give you the respect that you deserve as well, that we deserve here. I mean, everyone is there's enough what's it called, advice and for everyone here in this, from industry people to the artists, to the fans, to the artists. There's everyone has got a part to play here. And I'm at this point thinking about it, I don't know if I'm mad about this, like I'm angry or what per se. Because I'm thinking about it now, and it's more like, well, they're making the same mistakes they've always made before. So they're just gonna run off. Like this is them going over the cliff again, because they're just the way the whole thing is planned already tells me they still don't get it. Billboard still doesn't get it. Africa is a freaking big place. The reason why, oh my gosh, the reason why Afrobeats got the fame and got the popularity it's getting right now is because of the authenticity of it. That the people getting the music are getting it from us, directly from us. There is no filter in between there. Like there's no Billboard Africa in between there. They were getting the music from us. It's like they could go to any of all these DSPs and get the music. So if people they want to know stuff about Africans and Nigerians, they are going to want to know it the same way, directly from us. I'm sorry, slapping the name Billboard on it is not going to make you any more culturally relevant to other Africans or to Africans than it should be. It's not going to make you any more relevant. I mean, that's just the way I see it. The fact I'm not going to go on a billboardafrica.com to check out the latest thing I want to see in Afrobeats, or Nigerian music or African music. Like, why is that the case? Why do I have to do that? There are people that have been trying this for a long time. Like, I know that I think MTV is really strong in South Africa, like MTV and all of that. They're really strong in South Africa. So they even have their work cut out for them. Because this thing is so fragmented, sort of, in a way. And I think this whole idea of Billboard, it would have paid them to have a Billboard Nigeria. It would have been a smarter move. That I would have said, okay, now these are people that actually understand the game here. But I think they don't want to alienate the other markets that exist. But I don't know how you do it, because Africa is a freaking big place. It's really big. And really, really, we're very different people. As much as we're the same in a way, we're all black, but we're still very fragmented in our taste. Just the food, the culture, the music, the way, mode of expression. It's more regional than anything. In fact, if you told me you have a Billboard West Africa, I looked at you that, well, I see that as a smart move. Billboard East Africa, that is a smarter move than a Billboard Africa, than coming up straight ahead with a Billboard Africa for me. If you decided to do that move first, then coming out with a Billboard Africa, starting with a West Africa, then you come up with a Billboard, and then eventually you'll be like, okay, we're creating a Billboard Africa together, so consolidate all of this together. I don't know how else to, I don't know. That might eventually be their move, but this move already, in fact, I don't even know in what world I support this, what they're doing, either way, because we already have someone who does that in Nigeria, in turntable charts. And I might not share this with you guys right now, but I'm thinking a lot about I've been thinking about them for a long time. Like, there isn't a month that goes by that I don't think about, not just like go on their website, but just think about them, like all they could achieve, because I've actually spoken about my thoughts for them, both on this podcast, in my interview with Adiayo, on Twitter Spaces. I've spoken about it and what I think they can achieve, the potential I think they have. And I've all said it over and over again, even before this Billboard showed up, that they are sitting on gold. They've been able to start something that is absolutely incredible. I've always commended them. Now, a lot of people, might have beef with them, and I know that people do have some beef with them on the internet because some of the things they've posted. I think that's some of the way they also need to take their own feet full out of their foot out of their mouth as well. I mean, my criticisms for them is not hidden here. So this is not me just supporting blindly in that way. I've always said that they're sitting on gold. They can be better in so many ways, but at the same time, I will go to the concrete, to the cement, to the asphalt, to the ground, like in the dust for them 8, 9, 10, 11 times out of 10 before I support another company that is coming and trying to do the same thing. And even when I started talking about Billboard turntable charts, and when I started bigging them up and getting people to support, I till today I've never met any of them outside of online. It's not like we're parties, like we they rock together, we they we they see each other, we they we they hail each other, say alpha, we they check on each other families, all this guy. Like almost I can say don't know them outside of the online relationship with professional, but I don't need to know them that way to see something they're doing that is great and actually be like, this is great. And I saw all of that. I started to talk like about them, like, and I like they paid me. And I used to say it on the Twitter Spaces about 3 years ago. Is it 2 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago, that these guys haven't paid me. I haven't been paid by these guys, but they don't have to. My whole life has been about like just celebrating what is ours, celebrating Africans, celebrating Nigerians. I don't have to be paid to do that. It's who I am. And this is also why I started this podcast, because I think that right now there is no space for like a podcast that exists for that. Doesn't even exist anywhere. That is just focused on the music and everything around the music. I mean, here we are. Here we are. Well, we'll just put a pin on that right now. They're officially going to launch very soon. We're going to be here to see all of that. It's going to be interesting to see what the launch is like and what the moves they decide to make. But at the same time, I'm saying we need to step up. Turntable Charts as well needs to step up. As much as I'm in with them, like, yeah, let's go. It is us. We should tell our stories. At the same time, I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. I'm like, we need to step up. We need to be creative. We need to think outside of the box around these things. We need to. We need to. I'm hoping that, well, I don't want to share that with you, no, openly right now, but potential for great things to happen is on the horizon. And hopefully, all the things that I'm thinking about, the plans, goals, and all these things I'm thinking about is able to materialize really soon in the next, in the next 6 months, in the next year. Is what I'm thinking. I'm working on all of this. I'm one that will put my money where my mouth is. I really believe in the things I talk about on this podcast. And the name already tells you everything you need to know. No stand zone. It's not about any artists. It's not about any artist. It's about the collective. How as an industry can we move forward and get shit right? And how we can build our own, like, and I'm not thinking of a global, like, overall system. The media wing of Afrobeats needs to be strong. We need to be the one controlling all of the narrative, whether it's positive, negative. I don't give a damn. We have to be the one at the forefront of these conversations. We have to be the one at the forefront of these conversations. So, I mean, that's for that on the on the Billboard. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe I was just when you think I was going through it this week, and I was just gonna pick the things I want to talk about. I will always want to shed a light on artists who I think are doing great, who are getting it right, and some who are not. But new music and all of that, and some of the things that I'm thinking about, new things always come to mind that I want to share. Um, so I was thinking, oh yeah, this week is gonna be about that, and then this bomb drops. Sometime, when was it? Last week, what, 3 days ago, on the 6th or 7th or 5th? I don't know. It was a few days ago. This dropped, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I don't think it can ever happen again where a week I'll be like, oh, maybe there'll be nothing to talk about, and it's Wednesday. Nah, something always drops that just, there's always something to address, and kind of, uh, something to address that is always happening around the Nigerian music industry. It's just the way it is. Okay, let's move to the new music out right now. Okay, no, before we go to new music, let me talk about stuff that doesn't have to do with new music, since we're talking about Billboard and stuff. There was a tweet this week that a report I actually saw this week, of what's his name, Kizz Daniel. I spoke about him last week, and how just ridiculous that project he has was. And I called him the king of Nigerian pop music. I don't think that anyone would be arguing with that right now. It is absolutely no doubt that he is the king of Nigerian pop music. Like, he does it almost too easy. Like, it's almost too easy for him at this point. I totally I'm a big fan of what he's been able to he's been able to achieve just so far, and just generally how he moves just makes me, I'm just really proud of him. I'm trying to see if I can pull up that. I thought I had that tweet kind of all pulled up, but I think I pulled up something else. Look at that. Look at me producing producing stuff. Oh man, there's so much to talk about with him real quick. Because I'm looking at this, and oh my goodness. Oh, wow. I'm looking at this now. This is some big news breaking right now. I'm sure a couple of you, probably you've seen this already. If you haven't, the breaking news is that Kizz Daniel has actually retrieved the rights to his debut album, New Era, from G Worldwide. And his tweet, and let me just quickly read his tweet. He says, from long nights in the studio to several mediations, finally I now own every song on the New Era album from 2006 to Yeba and Sofa singles as well. That Yeba was a big single in night. Oh my goodness. He owns the 26 and these two songs. That's big. And he said, I got my masters back. Man, this is why I said last week that Kizz Daniel is the Kevin Durant of the Nigerian music industry. This man just been making moves on the back end, and he doesn't really shout about it. He is so efficient on this part. Just focus on the music and the business side of it. He is so efficient. I mean, with him getting this back, this is probably going to draw a lot of. I'm going to go listen to this album. I can tell you, I'm going to listen to this New Era album from 2016. I am going to listen to this today and just enjoy, just to celebrate this brother, and just congratulations to him. For sure, I'm going to listen to this. And this then ties back to what I actually saw I actually saw this news that I wanted to actually share with you guys before I saw this before I saw this breaking news. It's actually ridiculous. So a fan actually tweeted always like tweeted at him, and he said something like he might retire or something like that really soon. Because he's trying to be with like he's trying to be with his family more, right? In a recent social media post, he explained that his loved ones have been feeling neglected due to his busy studio schedule. He said he wants to spend quality time with his family and enjoy life without the pressure of constantly recording. I don't know where the pressure is there for him, because I mean, you're independent, bro. If you decide you don't want to do anything anymore, is left to you. So, and he also said he has like over 600 unreleased songs in his archives. And like I said, the Kevin Durant of the Nigerian music industry, absolutely efficient, technically sound, not too many razzmatazz around him, but not too many better than him as well. Better than 99% of the field, just technically, with hits, with legacy albums, legacy records, singles as well. They're not too many. I mean, I cannot count on my fingers how many have got a better discography than he's got today. Like, it's not even close at this point. I cannot count more than I don't know if I can count up to 5 who have got such a remarkable discography like he's got, right? Just pop hits after pop hits. So we said for like no more recording for him and all of that. I doubt. He's already announced that a new album is coming really soon. So we're gonna see how that turns out. Like I said before last week, that he doesn't do as many tours, and that's the part that bothers me about him. He doesn't tour as much as I think he should, and the capacity to. Like, he has the capacity to tour. Like, he's got legacy hits. So I'm not sure why that part he hasn't been able to just focus on and focus on and just take hold of, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know what how he thinks about it, but man, until he fully retires, I'm gonna take all the music that he can deliver to us. If he wants to deliver the whole 600 songs, please give it to us. I'm a big fan of his. I will listen to as many as possible. It takes me a whole month. I will go through every single one of it. He is an incredible songwriter, as well as an incredible artist. And I mean, recently he's been really, really focused on showing off his family. So shout out to him as well. But he says he's planning on retiring. Well, to be with his family, I'm going to be selfish here. No, Kizz Daniel. I know you want to be with your family, but damn, at least we can wish and want more of the music, more of the fantastic records and the albums over and over again, right? We can dream, we can wish, right? But I don't think that is happening soon. I'm sure he releases this next album. Maybe it's going to take a while to release something else again. It's probably what he's thinking about. But whatever it is, we're going to be here to cover all of that. So before we round off, let's get through to the new music. We're almost out of time. Oh my goodness, this was a fantastic week. See, let me start with my baby, my girl. I don't know why I call her baby, but this is my girl, King Madi, man. Hey. This lady is absolutely fantastic, incredibly talented, man. Like I've said, I've criticized her albums in the past, and I think I spoke about her a few weeks ago as well. Did I? I think she was featured on a song from a few weeks ago. I know I've spoken about her more recently, right? I spoke about the album and how it wasn't, really good, and all the things I criticized her for on the album, right? She went, it's like she heard and went and took all of that and modified it and dropped this incredible song titled Ego. I think it's from it's supposed to be part of this video game, the soundtrack for a new video game, Valorant, and she is the voice of one of the the well, like the actors or the one of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, one of the players. Yes, one of the players on on the video game. And this song is just absolutely fantastic. I put out a tweet the moment I heard this, and I said, fucking yes. There is a middle ground between what she did on that album, which is like she really, really tried to be somebody else, another artist. She tried to be like a Western artist, an American artist. When we know who you are, you can still deliver that style of music while being who you are, where we can hear you. It is not King Madi trying to be an American artist, right? Because of the sound you're trying to do, but it's going to be King Madi singing that, right? So, I mean, that has always been my thing. And I said there's always a middle ground. And she hit it right on the head with this song, Eagle. This is absolutely fantastic. I am so proud of this lady. Oh my goodness. The production as well is just fantastic. Incredible, man. Oh my goodness. This is fantastic music. Like I mentioned a few months ago. This King Madi is the artist so many people wish they had. And I will mention their names. With Ira Star and with Thames and all of that, the future for this lady is way, way wider with this record that she was able to pull off. And this will actually put her on a different, it's going to take her to several levels and give her some sort of exposure that I don't think she's ever had before. And it's going to be interesting how people, how her career actually moves from here. Because she pulled this off effortlessly while not trying to sound a certain way. It's still her, 100%. For me, I still think she is way more talented than both. They've been in the industry longer than her, but I think she's got a wider range here to work with. She might not be a better songwriter than Thames is, but just as an artist, I'm picking her. If it's to perform, I'm picking her. I'm picking King Madi out of it. I'm picking her. I'm looking at it that in the right direction, yeah. I mean, she can achieve a whole lot more. And let me also get this, and I think I saw this. I saw this news this week that I'm not actually sure if this is true or not. I didn't really dig into it. Let me quickly check. And I think it was saying something like she has that she has left her current record label. I think, yeah, I think I saw that news saying she probably has left her current record label as well. So we're gonna see how that turns out. Yeah, we're gonna see how that turns out. I'm not able to really pull it off right now, and I don't want to bore you guys or delay. But I think I saw something like that saying, she has left her current record label, and she has said it several times of like how difficult it has been for her in the music industry, even from a really young age and all of that. And she has spoken about some of the problems she's had. So I'm not surprised, and I think everyone has that choice. If the deal is over, if the duration of the contract is over, and she sees there's someone that can that can understand her and actually take her to where she needs to be, fine. In my book, apparently, go ahead. But back to this music. This is fantastic music. Fantastic. The past 2 weeks has been really good for me. I'm not going to lie at all. The past 2 weeks has been really good with the Kizz Daniel album, with the Faust album, with the Rolling album, with Tim Lyle and Boj. Oh my gosh. It's been a fantastic 2 weeks for me. I can't even lie. It's been a fantastic 2 weeks for me. And yeah, so let's move to another new music this week. Oh my God, another lady. another lady, Nikita Kering. Right now, she is, for me, in my book, the hottest pop act on the continent right now. And if you're not paying attention to her music, you have to. Her ability to work around the pop Afro pop sound, the amapiano sound, the hip hop sound, the R&B slash hip hop sound, while still giving you the delivery in her local language 100% and mixing all of that. It's not like the middle ground that I spoke about with King Maddie. Nikita Kering like blows that out of the park. She's mastered that. Where if you love the R&B hip hop sound, you embrace all of that, right? You love the amapiano sound, you get all of that. She works with the Afro pop sound as well, and she is as authentic as they come. For me, on the continent, she is the hottest pop act as of this year. So 2025, Nikita Kering from South Africa is her. I don't want to hear from haters and vultures when this lady begins to shoot out of here, and then they tell me, oh, they don't know where she came from, or she's an industry plant, or all of that bullshit. I've been speaking about this lady for years now, because her trajectory, I cannot wait for this next album. It's going to be fantastic. I'm not like, she's gone to a place with me where I'm not even bothered about what it, or would it be this. She knows who she is, and she works with it and she toes the line. And she will give you excellence every single time. She's also really young as well, early 20s, I think. She has this song out right now. You guys go check out. The song is titled Hina Pressure is what the song is called. And she had, I think this was a collaboration between her and maybe a group, or there's with MTV Sugar, maybe a TV show or something, but this was a collaboration between both of them. This absolutely fire song. I love this one as well. Still on the top of songs that I actually love from this week, Benson and Fola. Benson, I'm gonna probably he will go down as the greatest songwriter the Nigerian music industry has ever had. He's going to go down because at this point, I don't know. I'm listening to what he's singing, and it's always, he knows how to do this. And he's still got the legs to go a long way in this industry. He's still going to give so many people hits. He's still going to come out with hits himself. At the end of this, when he decides to hang his boots, he will go down as one of the greatest songwriters we've ever had. And I've spoken about Fola as well. And I've mentioned what makes him special, more special than so many that are running around today. And people are hailing and all of that. And I'm saying he's going to be here for a long time. The moment you're able to add value to other people's records, that is a litmus test of how long you're going to be here. And there are artists who they don't even do well on their own records, but they're very good featured artists. Like, you're gonna be here for a long time. And with him, I'm not saying that's who he is. I've even on his individual records, we're gonna have to see him do more of that. And hopefully, it's coming, most likely gonna come out with a project before the end of the year. I want to see more of that. In fact, I want to see a project where if it's like 10 records, I want to see 8 of just him. 8 just him on the record. He needs to solidify that to the fans, to the listeners, people who are waiting to hear him. That has to be his next move, where it is just him on a stretch of records, like on the album. He's done great with Bella Shmurda, with Kizz Daniel, with Olamide. He's gone, like, just name them. And now he's standing with probably one of the best active artists, the best songwriter we have right now, and he's able to hold his ground. This song sounds absolutely beautiful. The melodies, both of them are really good with that. So it was to hear both of them on a record at some point, I was like, wait, why didn't I ever think of this before I saw this? But absolutely fantastic record as well, man. Benson, bro, bring that album. Let's hear it. I'm here for it, bro. I'm here for it. Fola, not much needs to be said about him. And finally, Bloody Civilian, also another lady who came into the scene a few years ago. She's been really silent. I don't know how you let that happen for such a talented artist, right? She was nominated at the Headies for, I think, for the best rap single or something like that. She was on that insane record with Wale and Odumodu Black and her. Blood on the Dance Floor, I think, Odumodu Black record. Absolutely fantastic. She did absolutely fantastic on that record. And I was thinking, well, you have a hit record like that going around. Yeah, you should build something off that momentum. That doesn't, like, how do you even do that? Where you just sit and nothing after, being featured. Like, you take the momentum wherever you get it from and you ride with it. You use it to ride your own ship. Right? So, I don't know. She came out with a song titled La Di Da. But it's the reason why I'm even talking about this record is because of the respect I have for her, and I think how talented she is, and I think that she can do way better than she did on this record. That's why I'm talking about it, because I just want to say she can do a lot more than being out for a long time. This cannot be the record you come out with. You need to really think about, if you're going to go out for that long, for months at a time like that, then you need to come out with something that even people who are your fans are going to be out there talking about, that takes people's attention, not like pop or whatever, you are who you are, but something that makes it, that reminds people why or reminds the industry why it actually regards you as one of the best right now, or one of the most promising acts or artists right now. And this song doesn't do that for Bloody Civilian at all. Absolutely, really, really disappointing. I'm like, the money you put into that, go into the video or whatever, all of those things they did. So put it into finding another song, recording another song somewhere. So that's kind of that for me. We've gone way beyond our time today, but I think it's important that we need to touch all of those things and kind of take the time on the Billboard topic as well. As always, I want to know what you think about this, any of the things we talk about on the show today, things we've spoken about today, things we're talking about I've spoken about in past episodes as well. I want to know what you think about any of this. So please do not hesitate to hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open. It's TA Sound, TIAE Sound, as well as No Standpod, at No Standpod. Also on Twitter, if you want to send me an email, make inquiries, all of the fun stuff, it's nostandpod@gmail.com. No Stan, STANPOD pod@gmail.com. Please don't hesitate to also follow on YouTube. It's the No Stand Zone with TA on YouTube. Please subscribe and like the videos there as well. Thank you very much for your time. So please don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. And until next week, I'll be back with a lot more. Stay blessed.